How you know that the gender pay gap story is BS is you have to ask yourself this question. So in a capitalistic society, right, where businessmen are out for profit, let's think about this clearly. If in a capitalist society where businessmen are after profit, why, if a female salary was deliberately lower than a male salary because of sexism, why on earth would employers hire men? Why hire men? Right? If women's labor is so cheap, why would you hire men in the first place? Because obviously, if you hire a woman only, you make a huge profit. I mean, you make a gigantic profit if it's deliberately low because of sexism, right? If society is so sexist that they're willing to pay women less than men just because they're women, why not hire women only? Right? So you have to answer the question, why is that the case? Because there are economic reasons for this. There are economic and cultural reasons behind this pay gap. And I'll get into them in a second. So one of the cultural aspects of the gender pay gap is most women, or not, I wouldn't say most women, but some women are mothers, right? And because you're a mother, you don't work as much as you would had you not been a mother, right? Because you have to take time off to take care of your baby. You have to do a lot of things. Like, think about it. Government laws regarding maternity leave. I think is that what it is? Maternity or paternity leave? I don't know how the terms are different. I think paternity has to do with the father and maternity is the mother. So with all these leaves for pregnant women, right? If in an employment contract, right, this guy as the employer knows that this woman is going to take months of work, obviously you have to compensate the employer for the time lost by your salary being at a lower rate. So how do we know this, right? If you compare the gender pay gap between non-married men and non-married women, there is no gap at all. You can literally go do your own research. I'll put the links in the description. There is no gap. I think women earn 99.97 cents for every dollar a man makes. So there's really no gap there between non-married women and non-married men, right? But when you compare the gap between married men and married women, you get a completely different story. I mean, the gap is extremely huge. And so it's huge not because of sexism, although I'm not discounting the fact that sexism doesn't exist. It does exist, but it is the outlier. It is the exception, not the rule, right? So when you look at married men and married women, obviously it makes sense. You think about, okay, married women tend to have children, right? When you get married, obviously the first thing you want to do is build a family. Of course, not every married family or married couple ends up having children, but majority of them end up having children, or some of them can't, but that's not the point, right? So married women have children, right? A lot of them have children, and so you have to take time off, or you have to settle for an employment agreement that favors being able to be a full-time mother at the same time going to work, so that you can be more flexible between those two roles that you have. Remember, when you're a mother, you don't just have one job right now. Now you have two jobs. You have your normal job and you have the job of raising your child. So obviously that's going to have some effect on the gender pay gap.